Hey there, I'm Keith. Knowing what the sun is doing is going to make your job infinitely easier. Here are the 3 sun tracker apps that I love to use, and I love them for all different reasons. So let's start with the crowd favorite Sunseeker. Sunseeker is the classic on location, fast, easy to use sun tracking app. If you are in the environment you will be shooting in, I like to use Sunseeker the best because it has the cleanest interface. It is really fast. There's not a bunch of like cluttered UI elements everywhere. You can pick the date, see where the sun will be at a certain time, and then you just know. It's really fast, very simple, and it's my on location one, especially if I'm giving my phone to a client to like better illustrate, like peek over my shoulder, why we're going to be shooting at a certain time in a certain place because the sun will be there. For our next app, this is more of a film or a photo app that happens to have one of the best sun text trackers I've ever seen, and that is PhotoPills. And when we're in PhotoPills, if you click on sun, it'll actually take you to today, and it will break down golden hour and blue hour into different brackets. So if you have a certain shot in mind that you need to shoot at blue hour, this app will actually break it down and it'll tell you like blue hour is from, astronomical twilight, 5:45 this morning. Then nautical twilight is 6:27. Blue hour starts at 6:59, and then golden hour starts at 7:10. Then golden hour's over at 7:27. So you had an 11-minute window to shoot your blue hour thing this morning, and then you had a 17-minute window to film at golden hour today. So a lot of apps will just kind of like break things down to say golden hour is 7:59 and then it ends at 7:30. And it doesn't break down blue hour, nautical twilight, golden hour. This is the best text representation of what the sun will actually be doing that I've found. And that is the reason I keep PhotoPills around in my sun rotation. The next tool is Planner though. Planner actually takes the text data and shows you the different levels of blue hour and then golden hour and then just regular daylight. This is pretty cool if you get to your location. I like being able to read the text when I'm there, but I also like being able to like see the visual representation. Like, okay, this is nighttime. It's going to get a little brighter at like starting at 6, at 6:30. Like visually, this helps me understand the light a little bit better. I don't really know like what astronomical twilight is or whatever they called it. So the visual representation is nice for visual learners like me. My third and favorite app for sun tracking, and this is the most in-depth by far, but it is the most helpful whenever you're actually going through and want to know what the sun is doing, and it is Helios, and this is Helios Pro. This is from the same app of the people that make Artemis. I think it's called a chemical wedding or something like that, something crazy. But Helios Pro has a ton of really helpful tools. Helios Pro also has the live view that Sunseeker has. However, this has a little bit more tools on screen. So it's almost like you're looking at like an anamorphic strip of all of these different tools. So Sunseeker has a cleaner look to it, but it's also nice that you can scrub through the different times of day with Helios here a lot easier. So it's kind of a trade-off. Like if you're on set and you need to know what the sun is doing at that time, then I like to look at the simpler interface of Sunseeker. However, if I'm not at the location, there's also a lot of cool tools that you can use. One of my favorite tools is Street View, and if you're using Street View, you can see at a location where the sun will be using an overlay kind of mix of Google Street View and the sun tracker. This is awesome if you know where you will be shooting and you want to see where the sun will be at a certain time or day. This is great because if I'm in this location and I want to film right when the sun is peeking behind this building for some reason, I can drag the sun here and it will actually follow. And I know at about 4 o'clock, it's going to start to peek out of the side of this building here. That's a pretty cool tool, and I like this for when I'm not on location and I don't have access, or it's just maybe not in the budget. This is a really cheap kind of insurance. I don't know if this is going to be 100% accurate, giving, if you're using the Google Street data, if the Google Street car captured, happened to capture exactly where you were, that's where you're going to be shooting. Like if I move the map over here, it just follows whatever the Google Street View car is doing. So if the Google Street View car didn't capture exactly where you wanted to be, it might not be exactly correct, but you have a pretty good idea. Like, okay, between 4 and 3:30, this is where I want the sun to be. So this is good. It's not as good as being on location, but it's the closest that I've found. My favorite tool in Helios, and this doesn't require the street view to be exactly perfect, but this is 3D buildings. And 3D buildings actually goes through your location where you are, and you can find out where the sun location will be. And if you scrub through, the sun will actually cast shadows on the 3D buildings, which is really cool. Like if I want this parking lot to be in shadow for whatever reason, I know anywhere between sunrise and about 9:30 a.m. we're going to be there. Or it'll just be in sun all day. This tool is really awesome. It's good for the pre-planning stage if you can't be there. This does neglect things like trees, power lines, anything that is not 3D rendered into here. And it also assumes that the 3D rendered buildings are like perfectly the same shape as a building. Like I know the building I'm in right now isn't exactly perfect, but it's like 90% perfect. So for a very rough idea, I think this is great. But again, there's going to be no substitute from being there and being able to see what is actually going on. Helios Pro is my favorite overall sun tracking app, but all three of these apps do have their place. Sunseeker is the classic, I'd say it's like the fastest, cleanest sun path tracking app. The downfall of that is, though, it's pretty limited in its features, and you have to be on location to really get the best results. PhotoPills is great because of that text-based separation between blue hour and golden hour. Although there may be a site that you could look that stuff up on, I do like PhotoPills for that visual representation of blue hour and then golden hour. I like being able to like scrub through that, just being like a visual person. That's pretty awesome. But Helios Pro is definitely the most feature packed. It is a little bit of like a learning curve if you're coming from Sunseeker, but I think after 10 minutes, you should be able to figure it out. I know this tool video is a little bit longer, but these are the 3 sun tracking apps that I've been using. Let me know what you guys think of these apps, or if you have your own recommendations in the comments down below. I'll be doing more of these rapid fire tool videos in the future, so be sure to subscribe to find your way back. Thanks for sticking around to the end, and I'll see you in the next one.